Well, all right. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Money Wisdom Podcast powered by Johnson Brunetti. I am one of your hosts for this episode, Nick Colantuono. I'm a certified financial planner up here in our Boston, Massachusetts offices. We're joined by a very special guest, none other than my friend, senior partner here at Johnson Brunetti, certified financial planner, Eric Hogarth. Eric, welcome back to the podcast.
Thrilled to be here, Nick. I'm excited to be
good.
representing the Connecticut office, maybe slightly warmer than your Massachusetts version.
Someone had to do it. So we're glad it was you. But we've got a fun episode for everyone out there tonight. And because it is the new year, oftentimes we try to be timely. And we've got an episode for all you resolutioners out there. Perhaps one of your resolutions was how to break some of your bad money habits. And we're actually referencing a study that was done by Intuit, Credit Karma. They actually found that 63% of Americans, Eric, are focused on breaking old financial habits and really building healthier ones as they head into the new year. So here we are. The new year is here. I'm sure for a lot of folks listening, those bad money habits are still here. And hopefully you're going to help us shine some light on how folks can help break these. So what are the biggest ones, right? Impulse buying, not saving enough, maybe carrying credit card debt, right? And while those are smart goals for everyone to be mindful of, obviously we're helping folks navigate this transition from working into retirement. And that's where unlearning a lot of those bad habits really becomes even more important. So there's a couple topics I want to throw out to you, Eric, and really see how you're helping guide your clients, how you're helping coach folks break these habits as they navigate what is a very difficult financial transition going from working to all of a sudden, no longer working. So the first thing I want to talk about is how are you helping clients balance this idea between risk and return? Really chasing growth, but doing it in a way where you're not overexposing yourself.
So our world, which of course is retirement. We're sitting down with folks that are retired or pretty darn close to it. They've been saving this long time, usually in the plan at work, the 401k, and how does that plan succeed? Right? I save money, not blindly, but I save money automatically into it every time I get paid. And I do it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And over that long period of time, market probably goes up and I do well. And then you arrive at retirement, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality. It's, well, why should I do things different now? But something I say often, we all want more money. We don't all need more money. So even though people are bombarded with a constant, stream of, you got to do this and you got to do this and you should do crypto and you should buy GameStop and you should probably buy a bunch of gold and bury it in the backyard, any of that stuff. What people need is balance, right? That's what we see all the time is when you hear about these disastrous scenarios that I lost all my money in the market or on one stock or in real estate. It always goes back to, I lost all my money because I was doing one thing. And the one guarantee, as we look to the future is we have no idea what's going to happen. So if you spread things out, if you have balance, that's the best way to go about doing it. So it's not, I'm 65, I'm about to retire, I got to get all my money out of the market. No. Step number one is figure out how much risk exposure you actually have. But the need of that money is now different. Your goal approaching retirement is accumulation to grow that money as best you can. And now it's a combination of, yes, continuing to grow that money, but also generating income for you, being mindful of taxes for you, being able to weather the storm for you. Bottom line, being able to put your mind at ease so you can actually enjoy retirement and not spend your retirement worried about a market that you have no control over. So balance is key.
You're absolutely right. I think it all comes down to having a plan, right? I mean, you mentioned that line that you say you use often. I use it as well. It's like we all want more money. We don't need more money. And until you understand how much growth you need to know that you're going to be able to live the life you want and have the lifestyle that you want in retirement, well, then from there, you can back into the approach that you can afford to be taking. Right? It's a beautiful thing to be able to look someone in the eyes right now, Eric, and tell them that they can afford to take less risk, right? Yeah. And how do you know? How do you know if you can afford to take less risk? And at the same time, you and I both have to have those difficult conversations with people where we're saying, ooh, maybe you need to take more risk. Because if you don't and you keep all your money in the bank, or you remain risk averse at your spend rate, you might run out of money. So it's a beautiful balance. And going back to what you said earlier, why do 401ks, why do these IRAs work over the long run? Well, Warren Buffett said it best, right? It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. And it's a very different ballgame when you're working, earning, saving, contributing, putting money into these accounts versus the world our clients live in, where all that stops. And now you're no longer working, you're no longer earning, you're no longer saving. Instead of putting money in and getting deductions, now you're taking money out and you're getting hit with taxes. So again, it's a very, very different ballgame. And when the game changes as fundamentally as it does, when you go from saving for retirement to now saving in retirement, you ought to change the way that you're playing it, right? So again, I just look out at the market. I look out at the economy. I look out at the phase of life our clients are in. And I couldn't think of a better time than right now to be hitting the reset button. So it's a timely opportunity for us to be having this conversation. One other thing I want to talk about, or I guess not one other thing, the next thing I want to talk about revolves around taxes. How do you focus on, or I guess, how do you put plans in place where you're helping clients address their long-term tax burden versus just saying, okay, how much am I paying in taxes today? Right. And this is where we have to say, like, we're not CPAs, we're not accountants. We have folks on staff who do that and who are experts in that. But, I think of the job of a CPA for our clients. I mean, they're trying to maximize deductions, pay as little tax as possible today. I think of the job you and I have, Eric, for the benefit of our clients. We're having conversations, sure, about minimizing taxes today, but I think my main objective is how do we minimize taxes for our clients over the next 20, 30, 40 years, right? Over the rest of their life. So tell us how you're helping navigate that for folks.
So time makes everything easier, and you have options as you transition to retirement. And you're, again, not to overuse the term, it's a balance of both these things, right? Because you want to make sure that you are not making mistakes today that are hurting you from a tax perspective today. You also want to make sure that you're not making mistakes today by way of not addressing or taking advantage of options you have available to you that would really benefit you in the long term. Like a Roth conversion comes up. I mean, that's retirement planning 101. Well, people told me I should do a Roth conversion, but I don't want to pay the taxes. No one wants to pay the taxes. That's why you're doing the Roth conversion. And it's not to say that everyone should be doing this, but everyone should be having an educated conversation about this so they can determine, does this make sense for me and my family? Because if it does, it makes sense now. As much as we are all feeling, geez, we pay a lot of taxes, they seem to go up every year, it's discouraging, it's a lot. No one's sitting here watching this saying, well, I think 15 years from now, taxes are going to be lower than they are now. What I've seen, having been in this world now over 2 decades of retirement planning, is the concern shifts from the early years. I'm about to retire. Do I have enough money? Am I going to be able to do everything that I want to do, that I hoped I'd be able to do? Fast forward 15, 20 years into retirement, and the thing that really is on people's minds is lack of control, which is being forced to spend their money on things that they don't want to spend it on, or being forced to spend it on, which are taxes and healthcare. And you can't do a whole heck of a lot about either of those things when you're 85, but there are a lot of options you have at 65. So it's, tax planning is the key word here. It's not just filing a return and, taking advantage of getting my taxes lower. Are you making the right decisions in regards to the longer term plan? And not just, do I have enough money, but am I being smart as I can possibly be in regards to where does it make sense to take that income from first? So spend time on that, because most people don't.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, as you said, it's not something that makes sense for everyone, but it is certainly a conversation that everybody deserves to have, because if that opportunity does exist, I mean, we're talking win-win-win. Yes, if it comes at the cost of needing to pay more taxes today than you would had you not done that Roth conversion, well, there's a trade-off for that, right? When we run these analysis, which we do, and this is where we kind of get into the complexities of what goes on behind the scenes here at Johnson Brunetti, but more often than not, doing a Roth conversion means more total assets at the end of the day, money being left behind in a more efficient place for those that we love and those that we care about. And it also means significantly less in total lifetime taxes paid by our clients. So win, win, win. But in order to do it, you need to jump over that initial hurdle of saying, okay, I'm going to be advancing income out of these IRAs, paying taxes today that I don't need to pay. But you pay those taxes once. And as you know, Eric, that money then grows tax-free for the rest of your life, which that sounds good to me. It's a rare place or a rare thing to have money that grows tax-free. So if the opportunity presents itself and if it makes sense for you, typically it's something you're not going to want to miss, as you mentioned. But again, there's emotions there. Some people just don't like the idea of paying taxes. They can know in the back of their mind they're going to be paying more at the end of the day, or they pass away and they're leaving money behind in a place where their beneficiaries are going to be paying taxes, but there's emotions there, right? So how do you help clients navigate the emotional element of not just making it to retirement, but also saying, okay, now it's a very, very different, the road I've traveled to get here is very different than the one I'm now traveling on for this next 20, 30-year period of my life. So when it comes to the emotions of retirement, how are you coaching your clients there, Eric? How are you helping people navigate those emotions?
That is maybe the number one reason that, in my very biased opinion, I think people should work with advisors. There's tens of thousands of investment options out there. Any advisory firm or private equity, whatever it's going to be, says, "Oh, I've got something that no one else has." No, they don't. Right? It's not. Well, tell me about what fund you think is best, or what's you got a hot stock tip? Like, no, go on Instagram. They've probably got one for you. Don't actually do that. But the planning, like that, when I think about where I feel and wholeheartedly believe that we have the biggest impact on families and people, it's not financial. It's these relationships that are built over time where, like, take Joel Johnson, my business partner, right? My wife, Megan, knows if I die when I'm not supposed to die, that she can call Joel. And Joel will make sure that she doesn't make a mistake. When tragedy happens, to have that support, or when not tragedy happens, when you're sitting there and you're in a great financial spot, but you have spent a lifetime saving money. You have great financial habits. You're great with money. You're not bad with money. So spending money is uncomfortable for people. Like, you just don't know how you're going to enter retirement. People that are looking at this now, you're entering retirement having the best tailwind ever in wealth accumulation in the history of the stock market. Like, it's never been higher. You've never had more money. It's a great time to retire. But then immediately feel paranoid that, oh my gosh, I've lived off my earnings for my entire life. I can't possibly start drawing off of this money. And you get paralyzed and you don't do anything. So having that relationship, having that support, emotions in a good way, in a bad way, making sure that you get some steadfast input that's just zeroed in 100% on you, your family, your life, what makes the most sense for you. Like, that is financial planning. It's not picking investments. It's not even the tax planning. That's our responsibility. But where I think working with an advisor is invaluable and goes beyond a financial planner. Maybe it's, a doctor that you have a great relationship with who can sit you down and be like, you need to make this change and you need to listen to me because this is our world and our expertise. And I hope that you can trust us enough to move forward with this because we want to help. So that's an honor. And that relationship does not get created overnight. And that's why I think you have to be proactive and going out and talking to people and feeling this out, because you, in my very biased opinion, you will be better off.
I couldn't agree more. I think underlying all of it, I think what helps our clients sleep well at night is not just knowing they have a plan. Obviously, that's paramount there, but also knowing that where they're getting advice and guidance from is a group who does this all day, every day. This is all we've done as a firm for close to 30 years now. So even though it might be our clients' first time retiring, it is not the first time one of our clients has retired. right? And we're sitting down with people who are retiring today, and an hour later, I'm having conversations with someone who retired 20 years ago. So for that client I'm meeting with now, the new retiree, I'm almost acutely aware with the concerns that they're going to have before they even know that they're going to have them, right? Because we've been through it before. And I always use a saying that nobody practices retirement. You kind of get one chance to get it right. But I would say we as advisors, as financial planners, not that we've, quote, practiced retirement, but we have retired thousands of clients before you, listener and viewer. So I think it's critical. It's all we do. So it's a great place to be. Thank you for saying that, Eric. We obviously are familiar with the idea of saving diligently, putting money in, saving for a rainy day, retirement. All of a sudden, the rainy day's here, you're taking money out, there's taxes. That's where you need a plan for distribution. So I don't think it's really key for us to hit on the idea of continuing to save without enjoying your money. I think our clients, we do a good job of coaching them on how to enjoy their money and the extent to which they can afford to enjoy their money. And, we're never tightening someone's checkbook or anything like that. It's our job to, as I said earlier, we certainly have to have difficult conversations with people when we see that maybe they're getting a little over their skis. But for the most part, the folks we're working with have done a very good job. They've done the hard part. They've gotten themselves to this position where they're having a conversation with an advisor, talking about the idea of maybe never earning another dollar in their life, right? So our job as advisors is really just not to mess it up, and then also to help them navigate the complexities of what this next phase of life looks like. Talk to us, Eric, about what your reviews look like with clients. You're working with, a retired couple. You've been working with them for 7-8 years, maybe longer. But what are the conversations now looking like as these people are not just approaching retirement, but they are full blown in it? How do the plans need to change? Do they need to change? What are you talking about?
They need to be reviewed, and a general rule is you got to sit down and have a review at least once a year, because even if nothing has changed in your world, which it probably has changed to some extent, maybe the laws have changed, maybe the rules have changed, maybe someone you care about, their world has changed. So it's good to sit down and check in on that, because also, people, let's say someone's managing their money on their own and they're doing their investments and they feel the need. Well, I've got to, all the people that are doing this, they're moving money around all the time. I got to be doing that. The reality is, people aren't doing that. People that are looking for clickbait on the internet, they're getting paid to entertain you. If you're watching, Mad Money or something like that, and all the stocks you should be buying, what you need is a plan, and to make sure once a year, more often than that, perhaps, that plan is still the right plan, and that you are still on track and you're doing the things that you want to be doing, and that you're taking advantage of opportunities as they arise, whether it's tax or estate or life or whatever it's going to be. But that review is critical. It's not set it and forget it. It's set it and tweak it over time to make sure that you are still getting everything that you want out of this. But, one of the biggest things that I see with people transition in retirement is just not being ahead of these conversations, not talking about this stuff before you retire. And then you retire and you realize, well, geez, a lot of this stuff we probably should have covered before we retired, just so that, it could be more fun and less stress.
It's all about being proactive. You're exactly right. So, folks, we want to offer you all a resource. What our marketing team has actually done is they've made a book called the Money Wisdom Playbook. It's the ultimate listener's guide to this here podcast, the Money Wisdom Podcast. If you want to get your hands on the Money Wisdom Playbook, text the word play, PLAY, text our team at 800-757-0436. Once again, it's play, text the word play, PLAY, 800-757-0436, and we will get you your copy free of the Money Wisdom Playbook. And again, it's the ultimate listener's guide to the Money Wisdom Podcast. Well, here we are, Eric. We have reached the mailbag minute. So viewers and listeners, we appreciate these questions. Keep them coming. Again, mail the questions in or email our team. and you might hear us on the next episode address your question. So, Eric, we got to keep you concise here. We got to keep you to a minute.
I'll keep it tight. A sentence, maybe two.
All about perfect. Our first question. It's all about Social Security spousal benefits. So here we go. If you were married longer than 10 years, are you able to draw from your ex-husband's Social Security?
Yes. Moving on.
All right. We like it.
Quick. Yes, you can. Make sure you get the most out of your Social Security. It's different for everyone, but yes, you're eligible to draw on that benefit.
A lot of people just think it's a quick decision, Social Security. It's one of the biggest financial decisions our clients will ever be faced with. So, yeah.
Lifetime income is a huge one. Take the time.
Put a plan in place. Next, we have a great question about Roths, Eric. Does the money in a Roth account come out tax-free after a certain age?
Yes, it does. The money in a Roth grows tax-free forever. It passes to your heirs tax-free. They will then be forced to draw that money out. But a Roth is a home run. So if you're not contributing to a Roth, chances are you probably should be.
All right, moving on. Our final question is all about health insurance options. What impact does registering for Medicare have on my medical insurance through my employer? Do I have to take Medicare at 65?
Oh, that's a loaded one. When it comes to health insurance, you have a lot of options available to you. This is an example where we would use a specialist who we interact with almost daily, because chances are you're paying a ton of money for health insurance and you could be able to save some money there.
Well said.
That's
have a plan. Have conversations. Get someone in your court who is an expert in exactly that. And Eric and I will be the first to admit we are not experts in health insurance. So, folks, if you want to get your hands on your free Money Wisdom Playbook, again, it's the ultimate listener's guide to the Money Wisdom podcast. Text our team, PLAY, P-L-A-Y, text the word PLAY. Text us at 800-757-0436. Our team will get you your free Money Wisdom Playbook. Once more, that's PLAY, P-L-A-Y. Text our team at 800-757-0436. Well, viewers, listeners, as always, we appreciate you joining us on the Money Wisdom podcast. Eric, my friend, thank you, as always, for your advice and your guidance. Thank you for the work you do for your clients. Thank you for joining us. And folks, we will see you next time on the Money Wisdom podcast.
Johnson Brunetti is a marketing name for the businesses of JB Capital and JN Financial. Investment advisory services offered through JB Capital LLC. Insurance products offered through JN Financial LLC.